The U.S. State Department has approved the sale of 3,350 ERAM air missiles to Ukraine worth $825 million. The U.S. Defense Department's Office of Military Cooperation said that Ukraine has ordered both 3,350 ERAM missiles and the same number of GPS and INS navigation systems with a spoofing protection module, Y-code or M-code. The military package includes containers for missiles, pylons for their suspension, as well as other spare parts and consumables. This is reported on the site of the U.S. Office of Military Cooperation. The package also includes a training program, logistics, and engineering support. It is known that Kiev will pay $825 million for this military package from funds provided by Denmark, Norway, and the Netherlands. Washington said that ERAM missiles will be delivered to Ukraine as soon as possible. The move comes as Russia has intensified its attacks on Ukraine, including a deadly night of strikes on the capital that occurred shortly before the sale was announced. The White House offered measured response to the Kyiv attack on Wednesday, citing reciprocity. The proposed arms sale deal, which awaits congressional approval, includes 3,350 extended-range attack munition or ERAM missiles and related equipment. The ERAM aircraft missile can travel up to 460 kilometers. It hits both land and sea targets. It weighs 220 kilograms and has a hit accuracy of over 50%. If desired, the missile can also fly to Tula, where there are Russian military plants. On August the 24th, it became known that Trump gave the go-ahead to sell long-range aviation missiles to Ukraine. The timing of the announcement about ERAM is particularly notable as it follows a series of high-level diplomatic meetings earlier in the month involving President Donald Trump, his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin, and President Volodymyr Zelenski. Despite these efforts, U.S. attempts to broker a peace settlement have stalled. The sale of offensive weapons to Ukraine is a clear signal that the U.S. is not abandoning its military support, even as diplomatic avenues appear to have reached an impasse. One Trump administration official told the Kyiv Post, "The approval of the arms sale has been met with mixed expert analysis." Doug Klain, a policy advocate for ERAM, a US-based organization advocating for Ukrainian interests, told the Kyiv Post that the news was huge. For months, Ukraine and its supporters have been calling for the Trump administration to approve foreign military sales to get Ukraine what it needs to defend itself from Russia's invasion. Klain said, Ukraine continues pinpoint strikes on strategic facilities of the Russian occupiers. Oil refineries, ammunition depots and logistics facilities of the Russian army came under fire, which caused large-scale fires and destruction. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine reports. Units of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, including the Unmanned Systems Forces and the Main Intelligence Directorate of the Ministry of Defense, attacked the Afipsk oil refinery in Krasnodar Krai. The plant supplies the Russian army with gasoline and diesel fuel, processing more than 6 million tons of oil per year. A large-scale fire was recorded on the territory of the plant. In addition, Ukrainian forces attacked the Kuibyshev oil refinery in the Samara region of the Russian Federation. The plant produces more than 30 types of petroleum products, including gasoline, diesel, fuel oil, and solvents, processing 7 million tons of oil per year. Explosions occurred at the facility and a fire broke out. In cooperation with units of the Special Operations Forces and the SBU, Ukrainian troops also struck ammunition depots and a number of logistics facilities, providing support to the Russian armed forces, located both on the territory of the Russian Federation and in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. The Ukrainian Defense Forces continue to strike the military and economic infrastructure of the Russian army in order to limit the supply of fuel and ammunition and force the occupiers to stop their armed aggression against Ukraine. Recently, Ukraine's Special Operations Forces crippled Russian logistics facilities in Crimea, the branch said, after reported drone attacks against the occupied peninsula. The announcement follows the Crimean Wind telegram channels reporting that drones struck a substation at a railway station in the Krasnovodsk town in a precise hit, sharing footage of smoke rising above the site. The pro-Ukrainian telegram channel also reported a strike against railway infrastructure in nearby Dzhankoy and a possible attack against an oil depot in the same city. The operation disabled the operations and combat supply of Russian army units, the Special Operations Forces said in a statement. The Ukrainian military did not disclose what facilities were targeted, what type of weapons were used, or provide further details about the consequences. We continue to destroy Russian logistics in occupied Crimea, the Special Operations Forces said. Throughout the full-scale war, Kiev's forces have repeatedly targeted Russian military facilities and logistics in Crimea, a southern Ukrainian peninsula occupied by Russia since 2014. Recent weeks also saw Ukrainian forces step up drone attacks against railway infrastructure in Russian border regions as well as oil facilities across Russia.